All right, guys. Our next bit of movie news that came out today. Apparently, Robert Pattinson is feeling great. So he's been medically cleared. And for those of you who don't quite understand what I mean by all of this, 2 weeks ago, Robert Pattinson came down with COVID. He was diagnosed with coronavirus. He was on the set of The Batman, filming out in England, I guess northern England, and the whole thing had to come to a grinding halt. Now, the production company hasn't exactly specified who has COVID, where Robert Pattinson got COVID from. And the other little bit of news bomb here is in this particular article from Variety, they point out Robert Pattinson's representation. They didn't actually confirm the fact that he had coronavirus, but sources close to the Pat Man. Is that, can I call him that now? The Pat Man? Is anybody else calling him that?
That's going to happen.
That sounds
that's
like
happening.
A pretty strong. I like that. I'm gonna keep that. The Pat Man. But sources close to the Pat Man says that he did in fact have COVID. Larken, my question to you is, first of all, is this a smart idea? Do you think it's safe for them to go back into production so quickly after he was, undiagnosed, I guess, after doctors cleared him? Is that a smart idea to go back? And is it a smart idea for any production really right now? Like, can we look forward to seeing more instances of actors and crew members coming down with COVID?
Yeah. So, first of all, I definitely chuckled just when you said Robert Pattinson is feeling good, because I don't think that is possible. I'm not convinced the man has ever felt good. But in as much as his surly kind of angry self might feel good, the optimistic side of me says that we are learning more and more about the protocols to keep people safe. Masking and mask compliance really does look like it has a really good return on investment. So I feel better, I think, about crew folks who could probably do more to protect themselves as
anyone
far
behind
as
the camera.
For actors, I don't know what there's no way to be socially distant, and
No, there's not. It's because
I think
I know that Sean Penn has in his nonprofit organization, I think it's called CORE, CORE. He has they've been doing millions upon millions of free COVID tests for people in the greater Los Angeles area, and now he's turning that nonprofit into a for-profit towards Hollywood in any type of theatrical production. If you want to have these tests done on your set, he's turning his organization into a for-profit so that he can make a little bit of money off of the Hollywood system, which I think is a very smart idea on his part. But in something like this, I know that a lot of productions, Jurassic World, Domination or Dominion, whatever it is, they just went back into production. The Batman is back into production. Falcon and the Winter Soldier is back into production. There's a few studios that are back into production and stuff, but they have very strict, rigid, and regimented coronavirus precautions. Now, in my daily work, and a lot of viewers already know, I work as a flight attendant. And so every day that I have to go back into work, I have to get temperature screened, which I think is so silly, because if I have it, I'm not going to register at least for a week. So I could just be spreading, again, that's why we keep the masks on, keep your germs from spreading. But I don't know. It's a double-edged sword, because production studios need to start making a return on their investment, and money keeps going down the drain the longer they go without filming. The longer cameras aren't rolling, the more money they're losing. So I understand why they're doing it. The question is can we ensure, or rather can those sets ensure safe conditions. I mean, I know that you guys are doing it in schools right now. We like to think that we're doing it well enough on airplanes, but do you think we're doing it well enough as a society to start really fully going back to work? Where do you stand?
Right. Yeah. I mean, certainly, I'm here in Atlanta, and Georgia's numbers are just to the point that they might be reliable at all. They're not good. And then most people are suggesting they're not even reliable because we're not testing enough. We don't have enough information. So yeah, as far as society at large, I don't think we're anywhere near where we need to be. Um, to the degree that certain industries or companies or whatever can really control their little microcosm, I think there is some space available. So if if film studios or production companies are going to maybe start having folks that's part of your contract. I don't know that you limit your exposure, that you stay in certain spaces or whatever. I don't know. I've heard of theater companies trying to become COVID
Mm-hmm.
pods. So you have a dozen people or so who just start living together and working, and that way they are trying to make that
Yeah,
work.
there
Um,
are, in fact, a very good friend of mine. She's in a theatrical production right now, and it's this weird balance of trying to say, okay, we're at some point you can do as many rehearsals as you want with a mask, but at some point, you have to take the mask off, do those rehearsals, and when you start doing shows, you're singing and shouting and screaming and acting and talking, so it's how do you keep these close? Now, Mission Impossible, I will say, Mission Impossible 7, Tom Cruise, I mean, he's Tom Cruise. He can kind of do whatever he wants. He spent $500 million, $500 million to rent a cruise ship for the entire production of Mission Impossible 7 and possibly Mission Impossible 8. We know at some point they were filming back to back. I don't know how much of that they're still doing, but it's not
yeah.
practical for every film production to spend $500 million to rent a cruise ship for your entire. I mean, that's 3 times your marketing or your production cost, your budget. So, hey, if he can do it, good for him. It's just not. It's nowhere near practical.
Right. And it will be really interesting to see if 2000, if 2021 and maybe even 22, 23, we end up seeing the huge, mega, very star driven Tom Cruise super budget movies, and then things that are made by, you know, 3 people and a webcam, which is kind of fun, right? Like we might get the next like Greta Gerwig.
It's true. Yeah.
But yeah, so we might see, because I feel like, sort of to your point, that's it. You either need to be Tom Cruise and
Right.
rent a cruise ship, or it needs to be so scrappy that you really can just have a tiny
Right.
little group that that you work with. But yeah, anything that's kind of middle of the road, just work a day people who are used to making like a movie a year or whatever. And I'm thinking mostly crew folks. I
Sure. Yeah.
mean, I'm thinking
Well,
folks,
on a side note,
you
I
know,
want this to be my new production name. Is three people in a webcam. I feel like that's
right.
going to be my new production name. Uh, anyway, guys, what do you think? Do you think it's a smart idea for them to go back into production after such a recent uh, coming down of I don't even know the adjective I'm looking for. Robert Pattinson just being diagnosed. Hey, it's safe to go back to work, but our question is. Is it? Is it safe for, really anyone? What procedures and precautions would you put in place? Jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Hey everyone, thanks for watching. If you like this video, click like. If you really like this video, click subscribe. And if you really, really like this video, click share. Because that is exactly what this dinosaur would want you to do. Roar, roar, roar!